Hey everybody, um, welcome to video 6 in our series over the digestive system. Today we're going to be talking all about the small intestine. So not many slides, but a lot of information. There's a lot going on in the small intestine. So let's go ahead and get started. All right, so the small intestine, we can see pictured here in 3 different colors. The small intestine extends from the pyloric sphincter. Remember, the pyloric sphincter is right here at the pylorus. Whoops, excuse me. Uh, the pyloric sphincter is right here at the pylorus of the stomach. And remember, it keeps food from leaving the stomach too early and making its way into the small intestine. So it will extend from there all the way down through multiple folds and curves and hairpin turns and so on and so forth till it gets over to here, and this is where it joins the large intestine, which all of this is large intestine right here. Large intestine heads over and down and out. All right, so the small intestine will go from the pylorus of the stomach all the way down in here to where it joins the cecum. I don't know what that line is, till it joins the cecum of the large intestine. And it joins it there. There's another weird line. It joins it there at the ileum, which is the last part of the small intestine. So you'll notice the words, kind of like your coloring sheets, the words are color coordinated with the, there we go. The words are color coordinated with the picture so that what we see, let me change this here. So what we see, duodenum is the very first part of the small intestine. It's red. The jejunum is the middle portion of your small intestine. So it's going to be between the duodenum and the ileum, which is the last part. So if you were food leaving the stomach, if you were nice and dissolved chyme leaving the stomach, you would go through the duodenum and you'd come down to about right here and you'd angle up. You would then go through the jejunum and all the way around, come back over to here, and then you would be pushed into the ileum, where you will snake and move all the way around until you finally, at the ileocecal sphincter, you will join the cecum of the large intestine, which is right there. And if you remember from the previous lessons, that journey is about 23 feet or so. So that's you've got a lot of small intestine. Remember, small intestine is named for the diameter of the tube, not the length. Okay? So let's go ahead and move on. The small intestine is highly adapted for digestion and absorption. And so the stomach's job is to dissolve the food into a liquid form. The small intestine's job is to absorb the nutrients. 90% of all of the nutrient absorption that happens in your digestive tract all happens right here in the small intestine. That's its job. Get as many nutrients out of the food as it can. The glands produce enzymes and mucus in the microvilli and villi and the circular folds of the wall that of the inside of the intestine that provides an incredibly large surface area for digestion and absorption. So let's go back and look at this. So on the inside there are circular folds, and those folds contain villi, which are tiny projections. You can see them right here. This would be a villi. This would be a villi that cover the fold. And then on the surface of those villi, there are microvilli that are even smaller projections that are coming off of these projections. So basically, inside the intestines, the folds have wrinkles that have wrinkles. So the surface area is over that 23 feet worth of tube, the surface area is massive. And that is why 90%, again, 90% of all your nutrient absorption takes place here in the small intestine. So the form of mechanical digestion, really, this is the mechanical is done. There's not a lot of grinding and mixing and stirring up of the food. That's all been taken care of in the mouth and in the stomach. Here we have, it's almost all absorption. So mechanical digestion in this location involves segmentation and peristalsis. That basically just means the chyme is kind of segmented off into smaller portions, and the wave, again, peristalsis is the wave of muscle contraction, just kind of forces that material through the small intestine. And then the chemical digestion, there are some intestinal enzymes that break down starches, and that's pretty much it. So again, what we are primarily looking at is all going to be absorption. Also, there are enzymes that break peptide bonds. Finally, enzymes split dipeptides into amino acids. And remember, amino acids are the basic building block of your proteins. So your muscle, all protein, right? So what do you need to build muscle? You need amino acids. Those amino acids all link together to form proteins, and those proteins there will be the bulk of your muscle mass. And again, the biggest thing that the small intestines are going to be involved in is absorption. The passage of the end products of digestion from the GI tract, or your gastrointestinal tract, or your alimentary canal into the blood or lymph. Absorption occurs by diffusion. And as we remember from biology class, diffusion is the movement of a substance from an area of greater concentration to an area of lesser concentration. So since there's going to be a high concentration of your particular nutrients in the food inside your intestines, it's going to simply dissolve or diffuse across the membrane into your blood or lymph. And facilitated diffusion is diffusion that is helped by protein channels in your cell membrane. Osmosis, of course, is the diffusion of water, or the long definition would be the movement of water from an area of greater concentration of water molecules to an area of lesser concentration. And active transport, and hopefully we remember from biology class that active transport is the movement of a substance from an area of low concentration to an area of high concentration, and energy in the form of ATP is required for that process. And here it is again, I can't say it enough, 90% of all your absorption is going to take place in the small intestine. And I have no idea why it makes that little line right there. All right, let's move on. What is absorbed? Well, all kinds of things are absorbed. Monosaccharides, which are your simplest form of sugars. They cannot be hydrolyzed or broken down any further. So glucose is one. You can't break glucose down any further to make other sugars. It's a monosaccharide. Amino acids, again, the basic building block of proteins. And short-chain fatty acids pass into the blood capillaries. The small intestine also will absorb water, which that pretty much is going to happen in most of your digestive tract. Your stomach will absorb water. The small intestines will absorb water, and we're going to find out in the next lesson, your large intestine is also going to absorb water. So it's just a way your body tries to conserve as much water as it can. Also, it will absorb electrolytes and vitamins. That is going to be the end of today's lesson. So let's cancel out of this. We'll discard my pin marks, and we'll come back to the camera. All right, so as always, head on over to Schoology, find the exit slip for Lesson 6 on the small intestines. Answer the question based on today's lecture here from the man cave here at Casa de Grippa. Go ahead and answer those questions, and enjoy, be good, be safe, and we'll talk to you tomorrow.